I see we've got some people here. I'm gonna have like a 6-minute video for the. It was supposed to be like the second half of what we were gonna talk about. It's not done. I was just editing it right now, so it's gonna be a little rough, but I'm gonna throw it in there. So if you could bear with me on that. We're gonna have it should be done by tomorrow. We'll be posting it, and that's gonna be a really cool tool. The point of the video is how to shoot real estate photography with a cell phone. So that's going to be for like all of your people who can't get photographers to their houses, and also I think just a useful tool for realtors as well, like going into the future. I'm sure it's going to be kind of stepped back in tiers, and so I'm sure there'll be a point where it'll be really useful for you guys to be able to go and actually shoot it yourselves as well. And hey, when we're all at home, it's something for us to do. You can mess with the different things that I'm recommending and get that down right now if you have the time. I don't know, maybe you're like me where I thought I was gonna have some time in all this, and my days have just been just as busy, if not more busy in different ways. So yeah, we'll see. But that's just a warning on the video. It's gonna be very rough, and it's not. So I guess it's half done, two-thirds. Math is not my expertise. And Joe, I've got you, I got your picture in the slide presentation because you did such a good job are doing such a good job with calculating the daily stuff.
The market recap.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's 103. I mean, let's try and be more punctual here. Yeah, Sean.
Hi, Jeremy.
You know, you popped in my head with this whole corona. I haven't seen you, in like a month or something like that.
Yeah.
But we were talking about like just how well you've done at not getting sick in your life. And I was
you remember that?
Yeah, we need to like tap into that man's genes and get that extracted and shared because he's probably immune to this.
You know what? I've so far knocked on glass, wood, whatever. So far, so
right.
Good. So
yep.
Yeah, let's hope. And I'm always cautious. I'm not with my garb or whatever. But I wear my mask out. I've been home for like a while. So yeah, so I appreciate that.
Cool. Absolutely. Well, I mean, I know people have schedules they want to stay to, so it's 1:04 right now. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. So bear with me as I use Zoom, as I lead something for the first time. Been in plenty of Zoom calls, but I'm always kind of the receiver and not the leader. So yeah, we'll start off with, now I've got the big screen up. Oh my gosh, this is not, hold on. There we go. And sharing my screen. All right, so property presentation trends, definitely, without saying a lot has changed, and the trends have changed as well. Our buyers can't go out and visit homes. Not like they used to, but homes are still being sold. So what are some of the ways that we can present properties in a way that'll still be effective? So I mentioned I have my boy Joe's photo down there. He's been putting together the market recap. So I just looked over the past 7 days, and this is going from yesterday, but in just the greater Philadelphia area, there are 382 new contracts, 377 closings. There's definitely room here to get involved as a realtor. There's money to be made. There's a slice of the pie for everybody. It's proving that people are still out there making big financial decisions, still buying real estate property. So the goal now is, how are you going to find those decision makers who feel enough confidence to make these moves right now? And we've got 3 things to share with you that are popular trends right now Um, so the first thing we want to talk about is virtual staging. So, I mean, let's just take a step back. Obviously, I'm coming from the media side of things. So, in general, we're going to be discussing photography, video, all the different ways that people would find to present their properties. And so right now, in this case, virtual staging is definitely taking a step up. Virtual staging, I'll just read that, images of empty rooms that you might have, so think like new build or something like that, that then have objects like furniture or appliances added to them with editing software. So the reason why this adds value, first of all, is when somebody's seeing a photo, that's probably going to be the very first step that they take towards wanting to know more about your property. It's a first impression. And I mean, just like you've probably heard of sales funnel, actually in the film world, there's the idea of an establishing shot. Like maybe if you think of a commercial, it starts with, you know, maybe a shot of a house at night. And then all of a sudden it cuts to somebody like in a robe, like pulling open a refrigerator or something like that, looking for food. That first shot is meant to present the scene to you in an understandable, believable way. Just like in a sales funnel, that first step is meant to lead you to then the next step, eventually getting you to the point of a purchase. So likewise, that, just think of that first picture is something that somebody's going to use to sort through. Either they like it and they continue on and look at more, or they dislike it, they turn it down and they go to the next one. And so that's why having an empty place right now, it's a great approach is to strengthen your pictures that might be of an empty place and put virtual staging inside of it. Another aspect of virtual staging is customization. So we're about to look at some. Actually, tell you what, why don't we click over right now? So this is an example of a shoot that we did a while back, and it's a really nice property, but here it is, it's empty. So there's going to be a lot left to a person's imagination. And they might be less inclined, if this is the first photo they see, they might be less inclined to continue to look at photos or look at more information about the house than they would if it looked like that.
Ooh.
So this is definitely going to show the use of a space. It's going to make a bigger impression, like, oh yeah, I can see myself in that room. That can bring so much together to it. This is that first impression that we were talking about. The other aspect I think virtual staging does a great job of is, so in this case, they didn't have any appliances put in. This is let's say higher end home. And so you're able to customize your pictures to target a specific audience. If you know that you have a $5 million home, you know what your target audience is, as opposed to a $100,000 home. It's going to be different people. You're going to want it to look differently. So in this case, the realtor that we did this for actually wanted a specific line of, it was GE, and he said it was a white one with gold trim and things like that. And you're able to do that. You're able to get really picky when it comes to these things. And so we were able to put that in. This is the exact line that he would want to use for his target audience that he thought fit the environment. And so yeah, you're able to make a better first impression, and you're able to customize it for your target audience. The next thing that we're going to talk about are video walkthroughs. So, I mean, there's a lot of phrasing going around, and I've tried to sort it out. I don't know if I'd consider myself like, you know, the expert on terminology here, but you're hearing virtual tours, you're hearing virtual walkthroughs, virtual open houses, all those things. The way I'm separating it out is at least a video walkthrough is going to be an actual video, which I'll read what it says here: a video shot in the style of what it would feel like to walk through the property. So this is going to be actually the exact opposite of like a cinematic video. That's something on our site for our services, we call it an advanced video. But those videos are, I'm sure you've seen them. where it's like a beautiful shot of a room, usually kind of slow moving. There might be some fancy like zooms to other areas. It's almost meant to feel like an epic movie, really set a tone, and really draw somebody in. This is actually the opposite. And that doesn't mean that it's not useful. It's actually really useful, and in ways that the cinematic one can't do, which is that it gets the viewer, the visitor, to be able to feel that space, feel what it's like to actually be in there moving through it. I put down here, it's like the phrase, the forest through the trees. Sometimes if somebody's just looking through photos, the photos might be really nice, but they're missing that idea of what it feels like to be in the property. And so just a walkthrough video can recreate that. And then yeah, I kind of talked about the realness of it. There's something about being on a computer and being asked to spend $100,000 or $1 million or something like that. And that can be a very hard obstacle to overcome. You want something to feel as real as possible to somebody when they're about to make that decision, in order for them to feel confident in moving forward. You can think, if you're show up on a island adventure somewhere and somebody comes out and they say like, oh, we've got this huge boat and we're going to give you like this grand meal, and Kanye West is going to be there, and blah, 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 blah. And it only costs $20. You just got to give it to me right now. That doesn't feel real. But if you actually saw, if he pointed and he's like, there it is, that's the boat, that's Kanye, and he's staying up there and he's looking down here and he's nodding like, yeah, it's $20, come on up. That's going to make a completely different impression. That's going to feel real. Oh, what this person is offering is real. Not that I'm talking about realness as far as somebody trying to like cheat you out of the house, but the point that what a buyer feels when they desire to make this decision, when they desire to have that house, that they feel the realness of it while they're doing it. So then the last thing that it can help to do is serves as client checkover. I was talking with Lauren Hargrove right before this, and she was saying that it can serve, so this is helping with the closing of the deal, it can serve to qualify as the buyer's walkthrough. So it can't be used for like inspectional, that's not a word, I'm going to use it, inspectional quality grade of actually inspecting the property. But for the point of the buyer's walkthrough, it can. So it can be useful there as well. So I'm going to show you just a little bit. So this is going to be like actually a really basic thing. As I mentioned, this is the opposite of a cinematic movie, but there's still a huge role that something like this can play. And I really hope this plays. Let's see. Okay, cool. Music can be really nice too. Jamming to this one. So this is something that anybody can really do. This was taken on an actual phone. And so you can send the footage over, and we can throw some simple things together. Sometimes it requires an edit here, an edit there. I'm going to just stop it there. But it's a way to simply, at low cost, generate all those things we just talked about, that feeling of realness, and covering the things that a photo can't. In our case, we charge $35 for it. So to be able to have that value for a low price can be really useful right now. So the third and last thing that we want to cover as far as the trends that are being used to present properties right now is a 360 virtual tour. And now let me preface this with another definition of terminology. So what I consider to be, I guess there's maybe a broad category of virtual tour. It can be a number of different things. We've seen, a realtor walking through a house, actually doing like a live tour. That might be more of like an open house or something like that. But we want to be clear here what this is. It's a very useful tool that's being used more than ever right now at this time. I'm calling it the 360 virtual tour. And that is a collection of 360 images, 360-degree images, tied together in a way that the visitor can click through and view 360-degree views of every room in the property. And so what this does for a prospective buyer is it definitely allows them to be able to, if you're just looking at a photo, you might see like an area and be like, from this angle, I wish I could kind of see what that looks like. Maybe there's like a little bit of a door or a nook there, but it's being really minimalized the way that the photo was taken. This allows a viewer to swing things around and look at any detail that they want to. So I'm just gonna pop into it. I really hope this works as well. This is supposed to be a link. Let's see if it works. Are you guys seeing my screen? Did it just pop up? Is it
the 360?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. All right, so like I was saying, if the photograph, I think this is a pretty good way for it to start. If this is what the photograph is, and you're like, oh, like what's up with that walkway over there? You can turn it and go and kind of see a better detail of what that area is. And now when we go inside, we get linked through. We get to also, this is another point, is move around at our own pace. Like there's not much to see here, but oh, there is this laundry washer here, washer and dryer. Maybe in like a walkthrough video, you just see it for a split second and you barely even see it and it moves on. And you wish I wish I was in control of this walkthrough video. Well, you get to do that with 360 tours. And we kind of get to go through, and then down here, they can kind of pick through different tours or software are going to offer different things. So this is the one that we go with, and you do get this strip down at the bottom where you can kind of jump to things if you want to. So here we might be humming through like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. Let me go upstairs. And you come up here and you're like, this is a great view, but I want to see behind the kitchen. You can go over here and see things. But then you're like, okay, now I'm up here, but I know they said something about parking, and you can just come down here and see, okay, here's the back exterior, and you're jumping down there and you get to see the parking that it has. So by being able to set your own pace, this has been really useful to people who are stuck in their home, who aren't able to get out and want to really experience and see everything that a house or a property has to offer. The last thing I want to point out with our software that we're using is it gets to be completely branded. So up here, you can see it's got the Summers Team logo, it's got the contact information, as well as a button here that's just here. The entire tour is always down there. Request information. This is a direct lead generation. This will go directly to any email address that you want to use at somebody asking for more information. So a lot of different ways that this can be used to not only passively add value to a property, but actively send you leads for you to follow up on. There's one other thing I wanted to point out. I've lost it. It's gone. Okay, so let's see if I can switch back to, oh boy, that's coming. That's the video. For anybody who's jumped on, for the next part of this discussion, we're gonna go into a video that I was right in the middle of editing, so it's extremely raw. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so moving on. Cool. So to wrap everything up, I don't know if anybody's seen Lost, but it was a show that I thought was pretty interesting, and this is a character from it. The situation. So his name's Locke, or John Locke, and the thing is, the plot of the show was that a plane crashes on an island. So there's all these people here who now their lives are completely different. There's basically no hope for them to be found. There's very weird threats and obstacles on this island. And what it does is it completely shifts, I guess, opportunity, power, potential. Whereas, just think of somebody who is, maybe a millionaire accountant or something like that, who has a strong standpoint in society, and then compare them with somebody who's just, something where they're stuck on the streets and they're scraping to get by. This island, this new situation can completely flip that around. And so Locke is a character who actually couldn't even walk, but he was obsessed with survivalism. And all of a sudden, the plane crashes on this island. Out of nowhere, he can suddenly walk. And now he's actually the most capable person of this entire group of finding success on this island. So I thought it served really well. In researching some things, I read this line from the New York Times that I'll read here. The coronavirus pandemic has exposed that weakness. So I was referring to a sentence before this that was talking about how it's kind of like real estate has been this slow moving process, things done in person, but I'll continue on. So the coronavirus pandemic has exposed that weakness. Real estate is a cheek by jowl business, methodical by design, lumbering until the final crowded contract signing, and practically overnight, it has been forced to rethink the entire model. So to me, I don't know what it was, but I don't know if it was something I saw this click to. This is the same thing as ending up on an island where all of a sudden different things are valued, and different things that weren't as valuable before are what's going to get you ahead. So I wrote here, a hitch to some, a gift to others. The world is being shoved into a future that it was already slowly crawling towards, adapting your property presentations to the new way to buy. So, these aren't, it's not like a virtual tour, 360 virtual tour came out of nowhere. It's been around for a while, but the audience for it definitely wasn't as strong 2 months ago, even just 2 months ago, than what it is today. And the thing is that as we're all going through this, the technologies that all of a sudden gain value to us, even when things go back to normal, however long that is, whether you want to say that's 3 months from now or 3 years from now, you take these values with you. So it actually reminds me of a story from the .com bubble where there was something like the idea was all you need is a good whatever .com name, domain name, and an idea that you could just like ship to people, the inventory or services that you could just schedule on the site and do. And there was somebody who invested a ton of money in a dog food service or something like that. I don't want to get too in depth on it, but the point is there wasn't an audience for it at the time, and it failed miserably. And now 15 years later, that's an extremely successful business model. The same exact business model, just that it took time for customers to start using the technology, for them to start wanting the technology, for that business model to be useful. And so now we're at the same point. This technology has been here for a little while. 360 tours, actually not for very long, but things like video and virtual tours, virtual staging are all things that have gained value more than ever before and can be very useful to you in moving forward. So I don't know, feel free to stop and ask any questions. We're gonna head into the last part. The last thing that I think can be extremely useful to our realtors and to the people that they're representing, the sellers, is that right now it's kind of hard to take pictures of a new listing. And I've seen a lot of attempts and they can be pretty rough. So, so I'm in the middle of making a video that realtors will be able to view and as well as share with their tenants for them to be able to take really nice looking photos with just their phone. I did them in my own apartment as part of this project, and I was really, really surprised. I knew that they were capable of doing it, but when you apply, or I should say take advantage of every tip that you can, whether it's the settings on the phone, how you're shooting, you can really, and then also editing, you can really get some really, really nice looking photos out of it. So Unless somebody says something, I'm going to start into the video. It's 6 minutes long, and it's not done. So it's going to be done by tomorrow. It's going to be pretty raw right now, so please bear with me, but we'll show that here if I can figure it out. There we go. All right, Sean, I know you're talking. Can you see my stupid face right there?
I see the screen that says locked in, and also I see you on the right side.
Oh, okay. Then let me switch this.
I see just you.
Okay, cool. So now let me try to pull this up. You're a lifesaver, by the way.
Jeremy, while you're pulling that up, are you able to do another video on any other full-length series descriptions?
Sorry, I needed to turn my audio up. Could you say that again?
Saying it, while you're trying to bring that up, are you able to do any other videos on full descriptions of TV series or movies? Because your Lost description was great.
Gotcha. Absolutely. I think it's going to be more of like a team effort. So I don't know if you know anybody who could help with that. Absolutely. Let's just create illustrations for any point going forward. I was actually even going to use like some video clips. And then I realized I'm wasting way too much time trying to find video clips of Locke saying the right thing and not actually working on the video that I'm supposed to show. So
that's fair.
Yeah. And let me see. Okay, I have some questions. Well, a question. So it was asked if that was Matterport, that the 360 virtual tour. That was not Matterport. I think of it like Kleenex and tissue paper. Matterport was definitely the first ones on the scene, broke through incredible technology. And so now at this point, everybody's familiar with it. And they even call a virtual tour a Matterport or a Matterport tour, just like you would ask for Kleenex or something like that, when what you actually want is tissue paper. So at this point, and really over this past year, just this past year, there's been huge advances in 360 technology. And now you're able to use cameras that offer different things that are cheaper. You're able to use different software. I mentioned before the software that we're using, and that can have a lot more features to it. To me, the biggest thing the difference between Matterport and what we're using is you notice that we just went to like each room. We clicked once and it brought us to a room. Whereas in Matterport, you're like clicking through the entire time, almost like it's a game. And I think it's definitely a nicer experience in that way. But they have their own advantages and disadvantages too. This does not come with a floor plan. We are going to be offering that probably once things open up more. But that's going to be a different step that naturally usually comes with a Matterport. But the best thing is that these are cheap. These are cheaper than a Matterport. We're just able to give you one straight price. The full price is $150, but to KW Philadelphia agents, that's 25% off. So it's $112.49. So I don't, maybe you know of somebody doing Matterports that cheap. Usually I haven't seen them under $200. And they usually charge like per square foot and things like that, which can really get it to 300 and over. And this is a virtual tour of, I think, really high quality. I hope you thought so too, for $112. And I should say that right now, Gaurav understands how useful this tool can be. And so as we roll these things out, he's actually putting them at half price. So 25% off and then half price of that. So it's like $56 or something like that, $56.25. So he wants to, he sees the use in this, and he thinks our agents can get a lot of use out of it. So it's right there to be used for a really cheap price compared to Matterport.
I'm sorry, Jeremy, that tour was $56, the virtual one?
Yeah.
The house, the one, I've actually been to those houses. I know exactly where they are. They're right off of Lehigh Street.
Okay.
Yeah, they're huge. They're like, it's a huge place. It has like a finished basement. So that entire video tour is $56.
Right.
Wow.
Right. So that was 4 floors. You're right.
Yeah, they're huge houses. I've been to them.
Yeah. So it's not, there's not a limit on it. That's actually Brandon was on. One of the things that he's brought to our media department is making things as simple as possible. You guys don't have to do math to figure out how much you're going to pay. You don't have like a 12-step process where prices keep going up along the way. It's just one price, which again is $112, which I think is a steal. And right now, and for the foreseeable future, they're actually $56 just to try and get things going. I don't want that to take away from the value of it. I think it's just as valuable as a $200 Matterport show or a $300 Matterport tour, not show. But yeah, so thank you for asking that. That's like usually you're like the paid person in the audience, like, really, is it really just that much money? So that's awesome.
Yeah, your work is incredible. I'm happy to do a testimony any day of the week.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, if anybody else has any questions, also I should say before we go into this video, and we'll follow up with questions after that about the video, because I'm sure it's only 2/3 done, so there's probably going to be some more questions as far as how to get the most out of it. And maybe I'll actually breeze through those pretty quickly. But before we go into it, I want to say that right now, like I haven't shot in quite a while now at this point, but reach out to us and we can plan on this and we can figure things out so that we can get some of these services done for you guys at the best possible time and situation. So yeah, if any of these looks interesting to you, or if you just want to talk photos, straight up, you know, HDR, whatever photos, shoot me an email, call, text. All my information is everywhere. So I'm going to start this video unless I hear otherwise. You probably have 30 seconds of me figuring out which buttons to click. Even less. So here we go. Like I said, 6 minutes long. Actually, Sean, are you seeing a black screen right now?
I am.
Cool. All right. I'm going to hit play and talk to you on the other side.
I don't hear volume, Jeremy.
Oh, really? Interesting. Let me click. Let me do some clicking.
Maybe it's me. Does everyone else hear volume? I don't hear anything.
No,
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
hear anything either.
I bet that there's
There's some sort of setting you have to put on when you share
Right.
screen to make sure we can hear sound.
Yeah, okay, I think I've got it. Select as speaker, select a microphone. Let's try this. First of all, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see if the sound now works as well. Do you still have the video screen up? Is that still showing? Okay. Okay, let's see if this works. Maybe you're in a situation where a real estate. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you guys. Here we go.
We can't hear it anymore.
Yeah, it cut out again.
We heard it for
Really?
like 2 seconds.
Huh. Huh. You heard it and then it stopped. That is really weird. Okay, let me do some more clicking around. Oh, okay, okay. Got something here. I wish there was like a intermission thing that could be playing right now for you guys. All right, let's try.
Jeremy, do you have it set when you like first signed on to go to computer audio?
No, I don't think so. I see a leave computer audio button. Let me click play real quick to see if what I just did helped. Is that working?
Nope.
No.
The video's
yeah.
playing, but still no sound.
And there was sound for a second there, like a couple minutes ago.
Yep.
That is so bizarre.
Jeremy, when you started playing the video, did you then mute yourself? Because I wonder if we're picking it up through some other source.
Got you. No, I didn't click anything at all, which is why I'm kind of confused by that.
If you click in the audio,
Mhm.
the little the one thing that says mute, and you click that little up triangle, and your speaker, what speaker do you have clicked?
The up triangle. I'm not seeing an up triangle.
Okay, better question. Can you send me the video?
Yes. No, it's gonna take too long to upload. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. How important are the words?
Still nothing?
Nope.
No, that's okay. Why don't you?
What about phone? What if I called in from my phone audio and put my phone next to my computer?
Yeah, it could work if you put it like right next to the speaker.
Yeah. Is that how do I dial in? Do you know?
You're not going to be able to.
Okay. All right. Fail. Sorry, guys. I guess I can go over it briefly and give you kind of like a teaser of what we talk about. The video should be out tomorrow, so it can help you to see what's going to be included in the video. The first thing that I do is I go through steps in how to prep a place. I go through that pretty quickly because it's kind of like a different expertise that's something that there's gonna be a lot of voices as far as how to do things there. So I just go over, I think, what the critical things are, not the things that will improve the value, but the things that that might take away from it, like the toilet seat. This is terrible. We want to make sure that that's not showing. Then after prep, I go into 3 tips on how to get your camera set up. So like which settings in your phone. I'm using my own phone, which is a Pixel 3, but the general approach that you take to getting those settings is true for all modern-ish phones. So I encourage people to look up their own phone and look for how to shoot in RAW or how to shoot in uncompressed or things like that, which will give your photos much more depth, especially if you're able to send that to us for editing. I was blown away how much room I had to edit in the raw photos that I got off of my phone. It was a lot closer to shooting on a professional camera than I expected. But so you figure out how to set it up. The second tip is I show you what height to be shooting from. And then I wrap that section up with, let's see, oh yeah, tilting. Tilting is probably like the biggest crime that people do when they're shooting, and more about tilting forward and back. So just making sure that by keeping it steady like that, you're able to keep those vertical lines, like the walls, the corner of the wall, going straight up as opposed to slanted. And then the third and kind of last section I go over is just meant to take things up a notch. If you're doing the first two sections between the prep and the right approach with the camera, you're going to get quality photos. But with the last section, I give you 3 tips for composition tips that will show you. Let me flip back over to me. Are you guys seeing the video at all?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to go back to me. Stop share. So the last section, the 3 tips that we look at are, let me pull up my file. Walls, making sure to include like the right space. So having more walls show up can be useful. There's like it's not a rule, but like a guideline of 3 walls. If you're able to do it from an angle that has, the wall near you, but then also show the wall across and the wall at the end, that's the depth perception that we're used to as people for how space of a room should be. And that really helps with real estate photos. It's kind of the opposite of actual like styled photography. But if you're selling real estate, that's the best way to represent a space accurately. The next point I talk about are lines of sight. So just make sure that there's nothing in your way where maybe, like I use an example of a plant that's in the way of an entire area by the bedside that you would not have been able to see. So just making sure those lines of sight are open. And then I wrap that section up with, I wrote down subject. Basically, don't get carried away with like doing a fancy picture. There's a lot of, self-proclaimed professional photographers out here, and doing your fancy, iPhone photo of like, I do an example of one of like, there's some light coming in and it hits like the stovetop with a tea kettle on it. And then you get a little foreground, and it's like a really fancy, it's a nice looking photo, but it's completely the opposite point of what real estate photo is for. So just helping people to concentrate on what the subject should be of what you're shooting, as opposed to what is simply like a nice looking image. So those are the 3 sections: prepping, camera tips, and then composition tips. And then I throw in a little bonus footage for anybody who might have a tripod and a phone holder. Like I don't know if you've seen them. Actually, no, I don't have one lying around. But something that can hold on to the phone and it clamps into the tripod. Where did my screen go? There it is. If you have that set up, you're actually able to take real HDR photos, where you would take like 3 photos, one in a normal exposure, one at a bright one, and then one at a dark one. And if you send me those 3 photos, you're able to get these really, really, really nice looking photos. So let me pull these 4 up, the photos that I took, and we can call this a day. Just downloaded these. Also, it's kind of cheap if you really do want to go to that degree, and you don't have like a little tripod or tripod holder. Those are pretty cheap, and I think they could make their way to you in a reasonable amount of time. So it might be worth looking into, dropping, I don't know, $25 on a cheap tripod and $10, $15 on the little holder, if your owner is up to it. But these HDR photos took it to a whole other level. So I'm gonna share my screen now. There we go. All right, so this is what I highlight in the tutorial as what you can get with a phone. These are all taken with a phone. Nope, that was not taken with the phone. I don't know why it showed that. That's the kitchen. That's the tea kettle over there that I went in for a close photographic picture of. A living room with the third wall on that right side, just a sliver of the third wall, and that helps you to really understand the space of a room. And a bathroom. So yeah, with this video, I hope it's useful to show to your clients, people who are trying to sell their homes, who don't have good pictures, who can't get good pictures right now. But I think that kind of wraps up what I have to offer at the moment. So definitely stay tuned for this video that should be coming out tomorrow, and reach out to me at any time for questions, email, phone, text, and talk to me about playing some of this stuff. We can do what we can do right now, and we can look to take some steps towards getting some stuff done for you as well. So let me know. So it's over unless anybody has any questions. And there looks like there are some chat. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think we are going to add this class to the YouTube with all of its blemishes. And like I said, follow up with me. I'm sure there's some holes here. Follow up with me. I'd love to fill you in on anything that either I didn't go over well enough, or things that you just want to know more about, or know their availability or pricing. Definitely, we're full on editing right now as well. Send me anything that you have. The point of the video is to set you up so that you can send me the best quality stuff that I have to work with and to edit. So definitely reach out. All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Take care.
You too.